Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Gist and Unwind. My name is Nonye, and as always, it is a privilege and a pleasure to have you on here with me. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did not watch the previous video, I talked to you guys about your vaginal symptoms that come along with menopause. In this video, I'm going to focus more on the systemic, global phenomenon, everything that is happening. I hope you guys like my makeup. One of my suggestions from my lovely friends was that I need to beef up the makeup thing. It's a dark and gloomy day out here in Tumble, Texas, so I don't know if you're gonna appreciate the whole zhuzh, but you know, everything is a work in progress. The videos, the makeup, the hair, everything. So just bear with me. Back to the topic at hand. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk to you guys is about some terminology and explain some of the things that are happening, right? So a lot of the functions, a lot of the things that control our cycle as women is dictated by what's going on in our ovaries. Our ovaries produces eggs every monthly, and there's a whole dance that's going on between the brain and the ovary, and this is controlled by the level of hormones and different chemicals that are going on in our body. Basically, when you get to a phase called perimenopause is a stage where you're in between your reproductive phase in life and your non-reproductive phase in life. There's a distinct I'm re-recording this. There's a difference. When I record the first time, I'm a lot more active, hyper, and I rewatch and I see things that I do that I'm not doing well, and I come back to record and I'm a lot more measured in the way I speak. But just bear with me, guys. So the perimenopause is this phase between your non-reproductive and your reproductive years as a woman. It's in that phase, in that in-between phase, that you start experiencing some of the symptoms that accompany menopause. They are grouped into two sections. There's the vaginal symptoms, which I discussed and addressed in my last video, and there are the vasomotor symptoms, which is what we're going to focus mostly on this video. The vasomotor symptoms are things like your hot flashes, your night sweats, your increased irritability. All that falls in the vasomotor category. The vasomotor category, unlike your vaginal symptoms, do go away with time. If you choose to go to thug it out, so to speak, and not, seek any help, they will eventually go away. But your vaginal symptoms do not. They will probably remain there. So you might want to watch that video to see what you could do to address those problems. So when it comes to, I like to talk about prevalence. In the last century, these days, the life expectancy of a woman has increased. But unlike the life expectancy that increased, the age in which most women go through menopause has remained the same. So what this means is that a lot more women are living in their menopause years. A lot more women are living in their menopause years. So as a result, it's important that I want to address this because I know there's a lot of you that are going through those symptoms. So what can you do? Let's go straight to the point. How can you take care of the symptoms? You already know what you're going through. You already know what you're feeling, or you know someone who's going through it. What you want to know is, what can you do? Well, there's two ways that you could do. There's three ways, actually. Number one, you could go the no help route. You're not going to use anything. You're not going to do anything. That's okay. That's fine if that's the route that you want to go. Just know that like I said, the symptoms are going to go away with time. And in a few years they will go away, but in the time being that you're experiencing it, there's some things that can help you out, like increased exercises. If you exercise frequently, it could help you with the symptoms. Another thing that you could do is to try to avoid the triggers, the things that set it on. Some examples of that are like a hot environment, or ingesting hot fluids, or stress. So if you could avoid those triggers and exercise frequently and relax, that could help you go through that transition phase without any medication. Now, that is one way to go through it. The next way you could do it is the hormonal route. You could go through over-the-counter hormone mimicking product, or you could go get prescription hormones. Now, I know that there might be some people watching my video outside of the United States who have access to certain hormonal products without a prescription. So it's important that you pay attention to what I'm about to say here. Whether you're going the OTC route, over the counter, with the OTC products, which are plant estrogens, those plant estrogens that I talked about in the previous video, that mimic human estrogens in the body and sometimes help you with the effects. Like I said, it's sometimes it's a hit or miss. Some people I talk to, when they take it, it helps them a lot. Some people say that it doesn't help them. It really depends on the plant and the dose in the product that you're buying. But like I said, whether you're going the OTC route, whether you're going to get a prescription from your doctor, or whether you live in a country where you have access to both without speaking to a medical personnel, it's important that you realize that it's very important that you talk to a clinician, because some disease states or some conditions that you might have might make you not the right candidate for hormone therapy. So it's just important that you speak with a medical personnel or a clinician, where you either talk to your doctor or your pharmacist or even your nurse, and then we need to gather some information about you. Do you still have your uterus intact? What other disease states are you dealing with? Because based on some of these things, hormone therapy might not be good for you. And if you bypass getting counsel from a clinician, you might put yourself at risk for some other problems. So please, it's important that you speak to a medical personnel. And then once you do that, you guys can explore your options. There are over-the-counter stuff that mimic estrogen. Like I said, those are stuff like estrogen. There are quite a few. They come under different names, but ultimately the active ingredients are usually about the same. And then you can go through a prescription where you can get estrogen pills or estrogen patches. And these help you go through that phase, that transition phase, those vasomotor symptoms that you're experiencing. It's important to know that if you stop taking these medications and you are not completely through the phase, that you will probably regress and still have those symptoms that you were having. And also, hormone therapy has other benefits. For example, there's a certain amount of a bone loss that comes when women are going through menopause. When that happens, if you start hormone therapy, it could regress that and help you maintain or build your bone density. But you can't take hormones forever. At some point, you have to get off it. And when you do get off it, everything goes back. Everything reverts back to what it would have been had you never taken the hormone. So just be aware of that. Again, it's important that you talk to someone, talk to a pharmacist, talk to a doctor, and let's really have a discussion. Come and sit face to face with us so that we can really help you through this process. The other route that you can go is the non-hormonal route, but still medications. There are medications that were approved for other things that women have been taking for other things that we come to find out that, hey, that really helps them while they're going through this phase. An example of that are some antidepressant medications. It seems like when that estrogen level drops, it causes ultimately a drop in a neurotransmitter or a chemical in our brain called serotonin. And that really affects our mood, how we feel. And in fact, that is one of the angles that a lot of antidepressant medications take. The antidepressant medications target the level of serotonin in our body. So people discover that women or people that are taking this antidepressant medications actually, seem to get some benefits when they're going through menopause. So in these days, I see some antidepressant medications prescribed just for menopause. There's other medications that can be theoretically that can be used for it, gabapentin, which is an anti-seizure med, and also clonidine. But I will be honest with you, I see mostly the antidepressant medications, which leads me to another over-the-counter product that you might be wondering about, which is black cohosh. Black cohosh is another popular medication that people use to help them get through menopause. or the symptoms that come with menopause. Black cohosh seems to work through that serotonergic pathway. So it's not really working through the hormones. It's going a little further and affecting the levels of the chemicals in your brain, or in your body. So and I do get a lot of great reviews about black cohosh. I get a lot of women who say that it helps them. So that is also something that you could try. And the pharmacist in me is actually thinking about, what if people just take that? Because I get people that come up to me quite often that ask me, like, what can they take for depression, without going to see a doctor. And the pharmacist in me is wondering, what if I recommend that product to them? What if they try that? I think I might. I think I might recommend that they try it and see what happens, and see if that it helps them, because that's the pathway, that it's the way that it's helping with the menopause symptoms. So, and anyway, I digress. So I might recommend that for them. And I think that's pretty much wraps it up. I also want to mention that if you're taking black cohosh, it's probably not going to help you with your vaginal local symptoms, because it's not working through the estrogen pathway. But when it comes to medicine and the human body, nothing is completely black and white, and we don't know everything. We learn as we go. So if you do take black cohosh only without any estrogen help, and you find that it's helping you with your vaginal atrophy and your vaginal symptoms, please let me know. I really, really want to hear about this. I have one patient who told me that it has helped. I don't know if she's telling me the truth or if she's just saying that. So I want to hear more from you guys. So anyways, that kind of sums it up. So let me kind of wrap it up all in a nice bow of what you could do to help you as you're going through this menopause. There's 3 routes you could go. You can go the thugging it out route, where you don't do anything. If you're doing that, just exercise, relax, avoid triggers, things that will bring on those hot flashes. This, you could try it, whatever, these methods, you could use it whichever route you go, whether you go the thugging it out, the hormonal, or the non-hormonal route. The exercise, the relaxation and avoiding triggers helps with everything. So that's the one branch. The second branch is the hormonal branch. This, I'm a little bit, it's not that I'm ambivalent, but I want you to not just do this by yourself. I think it's important that you talk to a clinician, because some things may make you not a good candidate for it. So be careful in using the hormonal therapy, both over-the-counter and prescription. The over-the-counter ones are things like estrogen, which are just plant hormones that mimic the effects of human hormones in the body. And then the third route that you could go is the non-hormonal ones, which are drugs that affect the serotonergic pathway, as we call it. So those are your antidepressant medications. I see paroxetine a lot, and I see paroxetine is actually what I see the most. That's not saying that the other ones don't work. I believe fluoxetine is also, I see that a lot, and venlafaxine. So those 3, I see them a lot for for helping with menopause. And then you could also try black cohosh, which is an over-the-counter item. You don't need a prescription for it. I hope this video has been helpful to all of you. Like I said in the previous video, this is something that if we're all lucky and blessed, we get to experience. It's not something to be ashamed or angry about. In fact, it's something that in some ways I look forward to it, because that would mean that I have been blessed with longevity in this world. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, it is a privilege. It is a privilege. As always, it is a privilege and a pleasure. And I hope I was able to help you today. Thank you so much. Bye.